Now. So, Aysha Wax, your film Grief Vigilantes. Everyone just watched, so we're gonna put this Q&A up after the block of films. I have to tell you, I don't know what to praise first. How funny your film is. It's just superb comedy, or how well it deals with the topic of grief. It's how it's well made, it's well acted, it's well written. You checked all the boxes on this. So congratulations, first of all.
Thank you. I'll take it.
I guess the standard Film Fest question is, when did this process get started for you?
Yeah, so it's kind of based on personal experience, although I did not kidnap my boss. I should make that clear. But my dad passed away 3 years ago, and I joined a grief group, and all of the women in it were amazing, and all of them had lost parents. And I think I really struggled with being creative after my dad passed away and making things, and it felt kind of like a vacuum. And I started toying around with this idea and thinking about all the women in my grief group, and I was like, this is where I want to go, and I want to make something. And it was so easy to write, and the whole process was wonderful.
Did you take any inspiration? It was funny. It was almost, you've got all the elements from the farcical stuff to almost a Tarantino vibe. You put together such a great group of characters. You really got to play with all these archetypes. I assume that all came during the writing stage. You decided to make one woman violent, one woman spiritual, and
yeah, kind of. It was based on some of the girls, some of the women who were in my grief group. So, there were 6 of us, but we all had very different, interesting personalities. And when I first wrote it, the personalities were less defined, and then I workshopped it and kind of figured out who each person would be, and then I did rehearsals of it with the cast and then kind of changed it based on their personalities, because they're all super awesome and great comedians. So I was like, I want that, I am never married to my words. I think that people can only make your words better.
That actually brings up one of the questions from the jury, which is, so you workshopped it, which makes sense. Is your background in sketch comedy or doing improv? Because this group of performers play off each other so well that you probably could have convinced me that the scene with the boss in her home is something that they've performed on stage together and played with for the last 6 months. That just like, the 4 women in masks who don't know how to torture somebody.
So I have been doing sketch comedy and improv and stand-up in LA for the last 10 years, and all of the actresses are sketch comedians and improvisers and stand-ups, and they're some of the funniest women I know. So it was just a joy. I asked all of them to do it. I didn't cast it. I just was like, I hope that this person will do it. And I kept telling them the whole time that it was a dream. They were a dream cast and awesome to work with.
And how long did you workshop it before you decided you were ready to shoot?
Not too long. I actually, only did one workshop. My friend Honora Talbot does a salon at our house. And so I workshopped it, took that feedback, and then was like, I want to do this. And I brought on my producers, Elba and Casey, and they were like, we love this. Let's make it happen. So it was, I was like, I want to do this, and I don't want to workshop it to death. Because once your actors come in, they're going to change it anyway. And once you figure out what locations you're going to get. So I have done improv and sketch for a long time. So I'm very comfortable, making something exciting and good, but not getting bogged down in holding on to it forever before releasing it.
And I think the natural assumption is that when everyone read your script, because you completely scripted it, I assume they just loved the material.
Yeah, it was really meaningful to a lot of people. And when I first wrote it too, I wanted to explore, grief is like super weird and super funny, and like the world doesn't stop being in color when you're grieving. So I especially wanted it to be colorful and vibrant, because even though you don't feel vibrant, the world around you still is.
For sure. Well, here, I'll read the exact words of one of the judges, jury members, I'm supposed to say. She said, well, yeah, I think you already answered this. Wonderful concept. What was the inspiration for this idea? And she added, here's the jealousy question. How did you get Richard Riehle involved?
Oh, yeah, he's awesome. So he's so wonderful. My producer, Graf, he knew Richard and reached out to him, and he was on board, and he came and he did it, and he was perfect. And we shot his stuff super quickly. And part of the inspiration too was when I went back to work after my dad passed away, my boss was really rude to me right when I got back. And I don't think she meant it. I just think that it's like, as I'm saying, the world doesn't stop. So people aren't necessarily aware what's going on with other people. But I was like, I definitely was crying outside the building. And so we shot it where I work. So it was like all of the locations were like, we shot at the grief group that I went to, we shot at my work. So it all felt really special.
That's great. I wanted to add from my side that having Richard there's moments in your film where I feel like it is a female version of Office Space at a certain level in there too. So to have someone from Office Space in there is just great.
Yeah, he was a dream, and he's been so supportive and so sweet. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And in our culture, people don't know how to handle death. Our culture is very death averse and ignorant, and we try to pretend it's something that must be prevented and avoided. So I understand your boss just not knowing how to communicate.
Yeah, I mean, when it happened, like a lot of people would say to me, like, I can't imagine what you're going through. And I'd be like, you can't imagine being sad? Like, uh, I mean, it's not that hard to imagine. I'm just really sad all the time. So yeah, and I think I too was really reticent. And I think it's so hard to feel sad and angry, and we're not really taught how to do that. And that was part of what was important to me about the script, is that when you're going through grief, you don't want to be going through it because it sucks. So you will take whatever chance to avoid it that you can.
Yeah. And your writing is so good here so they do act out in anger. And then, of course, your lead says that didn't help at all.
Yeah, because you're like, I think too, when you're going through all of that stuff, you're like, maybe like I had gone back to doing stand-up, and I was like, this doesn't feel right. But then I was like feeling uncomfortable about stepping away. There's so many weird feelings that you have all at once. So it's like hard to embrace all of them. And yeah, it does, nothing you do that you think is going to make anything better makes it better. It just sucks.
You made
And
a
then,
film, but then a few years later, you were able to make a film about it, which is great.
yeah, and I feel like that was one of those things where I know my dad would be really proud, because he always said, like, you create stories out of like your pain and make them accessible to everyone. And I feel like I did that, and I know that he would be super proud about it.
And this was kind of healing for you?
Oh, definitely.
That's great to hear, because it's wonderful for us to watch. I mean, I shared with you the other evening that I lost my father last week. Of all the weird things, to have the film in here, and then have him pass away last week, and we buried him Monday, and that was a long time coming. It wasn't a sudden shock, but there's grief, but your film means more to me now than it used to be. Just this really funny film about grief. and you know, now it touches me a little differently. It's wonderful. It's wonderful art you made.
Thank you. Yeah.
And it's funny because the other questions on this spreadsheet for you, you already answered. There's people asking what inspired you to write it, which is you already covered. And another question was, did you have any? Your cinematography is great. The filmmaking and the editing is superb. And someone wanted to know if there were any references that you went into with your crew to explain like the look and feel you wanted.
Yeah, so my editor, Katie Dole, was great, and Mark LaFleur, my DP, I loved working with them, and I loved working with Mark. He was awesome. I felt like he got what I was going for in my brain. It's funny you mentioned Tarantino, because I really was thinking about like a Tarantino type of thing that's like poppy and bright and violent. We don't get too violent.
No, but your slap is one of the funniest moments.
I just was like, she would get excited. Like it's not the person you think it's gonna be, who's like, I gotta do it. I can't not hurt this person. At some point, I was gonna show them getting tied up, but I was like, that's too hard. I don't know how I would do that. But yeah, working with Mark was awesome. And like, I was thinking of like Tarantino. I also thought of 9 to 5. That was a big reference to me, which is also super bright and poppy and a little bit violent. I love things that are funny with like a hint of darkness.
For sure. By the way, you mentioned improv and stand-up. Have you been making films on the side as well for a while, or?
No, this is my first short
This
that
is
I've
your
ever
first.
made.
See, that's a heck of a first film.
Thank you. Yeah, I've done a bunch of video sketches and web series, but I've never made a short. I think it felt a little foreign to the sketch world, even though it's exactly what you're doing in sketch, especially video sketch, like digital sketch. But yeah, I loved it, and I cannot wait to make another one.
I mean, there's lots of shorts that are sketchy, but yours, even if there's sketch elements in it, yours is definitely a full 3-act story.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a screenwriting teacher and mentor, Tom Vaughn, and he has a lot of experience in the sketch comedy world too. And so he was able to help me craft it so that it wasn't just all over the place. And I'm really thankful for that. And it's always helpful to have people that can steer you in the direction that you didn't even know you wanted to go in.
Excellent. Well, I think our 15 minutes are up. Is there anything you want to add? If there'd been, I'm saying this a lot today, if there'd been a theater of 50, 60 people, it would have been so great to hear the laughter and then have people come up and tell you how funny it was, tell you how they really want to punch their boss in the face when their parents ask, all sorts of things. So you would have gotten a lot of wonderful feedback, but you have to just settle for me speaking for the crowd.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much for all your positive feedback. And yeah, I would just say like, it's okay to talk about all that stuff that makes us deeply uncomfortable, especially right now, especially, in this time where we're talking about race and how we can make a difference in our communities. I think just really having that conversation and feeling our feelings is the most important thing we can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to more people getting to see your film. And then when we do those Zoom mixers with all your fellow filmmakers who are in the festival this year, you guys will be able to talk about your films after having seen them, which would be kind of neat.
I'm super excited about that. And then you'll send out a link, which will have this in the movies, right? So I can
exactly, yeah, the 3 films, those 3 really funny, smart, well-made. I mean, really, they're so good.
Yeah.
I guess the last question to ask you is, so this was your first film, and you came out great. So does it give you the appetite to do a lot more? Are you gonna?
Yeah, absolutely. I loved making a short. It was so fun. I love working with people, especially great actors and great DPs and great producers. So I have a taste for it, and I'm just getting started.
That's good news. Good news. We look forward to seeing more.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. And we'll move on with the festival. But thank you, Aysha, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna hit